Welcome to the A Train Show. And now here's your host, the A Train, Arlington Lane.
Welcome to this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. It's Fan Friday today on the show. I want to touch a little bit about some topics that's going on in the sports and entertainment world today. Make sure, folks, that you go and you check out McDougal Bats. You can use the referral code Fuse Sports Network. It is the strongest wood bat ever made. All right. And, a lot to talk about here on the show today. And for those that are checking in, make sure you check out our wonderful sponsors at Just Meat Jerky, W Energy Powder, and True Victory Apparel as well. Okay. All right. Where do I want to begin today? First off, shout out to all of our shows here on the network. If you just checked in with the Hellraisers podcast with Gabe Garcia, if you checked out last night's show with Jersey the King and his special guest James Caesar Jr. There was some technical difficulties, but it was okay. All right, and everything still kind of turned out okay. So grateful and shout out to him as well. We had a fun show with the X-Fan show on Wednesday. Of course, the A-Team had Elisha, singer out of St. Louis, Missouri, on their show. And the bottom line, they did their 2-hour Thursday premiere last night as well. So, a lot of fun times here at the network. Make sure that you go and check us out at fuelsportsnetwork.com. All right. First thing that kind of kicked off my day, if you didn't check out NXT on Tuesday, right? And I was floored by the appearance of one Sexy Red. And Sexy Red has been out there all over anywhere and everywhere she's invited to. She's been getting it in no matter where she's at. And Tuesday, after the show or before the show, however you want to look at it, she got a chance to do her song, and she was able to do it with the head of NXT, Shawn Michaels.
The child, the boy, wow. Yeah, that really moving. I said chill. Up and down, that's fine. I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
So that was cool, man. Like I said, Sexy Red is a hot personality right now, and so she's getting around. Meaning being in spots and places that people would dream to be in. And shout out to her, man. She is doing her thing, and I wanted to make sure I gave her some love for what she's doing right now. She's been out in the community too in St. Louis, so big ups to Sexy Red. And then you got Shawn Michaels of the fan favorite of many. So they're doing their thing. She's doing her thing too. NBA finals are set. The Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks will take heed. Will be Thursday, June 6th, beginning on ABC. I like this matchup. I understand the dynamic for Kyrie Irving going against his former team, the Boston Celtics, and now doing it in the NBA Finals. For Luka, he gets to play against his former teammate, Kristaps Porzingis. hopefully a timetable will know when he's going to make his return, because that's a good storyline for this series. And Boston likes to shoot threes, and as much as Kyrie Irving and Luka, who won the Western Conference Finals MVP last night, stated that this was not about them, the eyes tell us differently. Yes, it is about the whole team, but it starts with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. So yeah, that looking forward to seeing how well they mesh in a final setting. Looking forward to seeing that. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, I hate that they fell completely off after. Was it them? Is the fact that Minnesota lost, or was it the fact that Dallas won? That Dallas just had they had everything mesh at one time, because they stole the Thunder immediately in the first 2 games of the series. And when you steal 2 games at home like that, it kind of indicates how strong, or the first 3 games in that matter, it shows you how strong this team really was. And now they're going to go up against a team. They're going to have a little bit more rest, because next Thursday is when this thing kicks off. But if I'm not mistaken, everybody should be at full strength by the time Thursday, June 6th pulls around here. And I'm looking forward to seeing this particular match. I would love the Minnesota got to the finals because of what they were able to do against the Denver Nuggets. But can't say the same for them now, because they completely fell apart. And for Anthony Edwards, it should be a humbling experience, because you were able to get far. And I really want to see him go far in the playoffs. Like, I want to see more of him, but it fizzled out. And this is my thing about the Michael Jordan comparisons that was given to him. The game that he was playing, it looks like Mike. You know, the jump shots, flying to the rim. But when you're 22 and you're saying that you're tired, there is a 50-50 to that. 50%, yes, I can understand it, and 50%, no, I don't understand that. And the reason why I say 50% yes is because a lot of people, it was on his back a lot of the time. Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't doing anything. Rudy Gobert's offense was abysmal. It's offensive. You didn't know what you were going. You could get anything from Josh McDaniels, but it was more of an inconsistency. And so what it led to with Anthony Edwards was he was taking the game upon himself to get a W. And he would wind up turning the ball over or take a bad shot. And then it just lead to complete chaos. And as more we sit here, is like the offense revolves around Karl-Anthony Towns. That wasn't the case, because Anthony Edwards took the reins. So now everything revolves around him. And granted, he's 6'4". What's going on, Wyatt? He's 6'4". And he played like he about 6'7", 6'8". And that's what blowing my mind. I thought he was, I keep thinking that he's taller than what he is. And he's only 6'4". And so, it reminds you a lot of Dwayne Wade when he plays. Dwayne Wade could play above the rim, and he could take a good jump shot. And the reason why I say Michael Jordan, if you look at some of the way he shoots his jump shots at angles, at certain angles, and that's just me, I saw Michael Jordan in it. That's the only thing with that. But as in the tenacity and stuff, yes, he has the tenacities and style, and I know he had to look it up. But he's going to, of course, everybody talks about his face looking like Michael Jordan, but my thing is with him is that he still has a long way to go, and it's nothing but on the rise at this point. It's nothing but on the rise here. The other 50% that I wanted to get to is you're 22 and you're saying you're tired. You don't hear 22-year-olds say that you get tired. When you're 22, man, you can jump all over the place around running and still be good when you're done. I don't know if that's part of, and I've spoken about this before, when he said it, but it's like, what's going on? But I think it's going back to the 50% where I'm saying a lot of the weight was carried on him. And he felt like he needed to take that weight and to try and lead them across the finish line. And it just didn't happen. And it led to just 4 horrendous games by the Minnesota Timberwolves, just horrendous games where they were completely out of sync. Even in the game where they did win by a small margin, it still was weird. But Minnesota's out. Dallas and Boston are in. I'm looking forward to the matchups in this series when you got guys like Derek Lively who's coming back, and I'm like, good God, he's taking so many shots to the head. I'm like, I hope he's going to be okay. Guys like Derrick Jones Jr. that can fly and he can shoot from the outside. PJ Washington, and that is a team. And shout out to Jason Kidd and Nico Thompson, Kalia Collier, St. Louis, and they really helped put that team together. And they took a lot. If Dallas wins a championship, a lot of people are going to have to back off of Kyrie Irving, because I think for Kyrie, this is his 5th finals, if I'm not mistaken. He's won 1. Of course, the one in 2016 against the Golden State Warriors, but he's been in 5 of them. So, granted, it was with LeBron, but or it was in 2 of them. I can't, and I can't even remember now. It may have been, but he's won 1. That's the main thing. He's won a title, and that's something that him and Kyrie can. I mean, him and Luka, he can give that information to Luka Doncic about what it takes to becoming a champion. Of course, he's going to take everyone. Jason Kidd, shout out to Jason Kidd. Like I stated, Jason Kidd is probably one of a few coaches, Pat Riley, I can think of as the other, that has won a title with the same franchise as a player, or has been to the finals as a player and a coach. Pat Riley has won it with the Lakers. 72 was him as a player, and then 82, 85, 87, and 88 as a coach. Jason could be one of those few that could do that. Bill Russell is another. Did it with the Celtics in 69. Casey Jones is another player that won as a coach and as a player with the same franchise. That's unprecedented, because you don't hear that often, that you win with the same franchise as a player and you win one with the coach. And Jason Kidd has the opportunity to do that this go around in the 24 NBA Finals as coach of the Dallas Mavericks. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and we come right back. We're going to touch on some more topics. I know I get to the NBA Finals because St. Louis with Jason Tatum and Kalia Collier, that's always amazing to see. And I'm going to touch a little bit on, I'm going to take a step away. I'm going to have Kevin Womble will join me in a little bit. He'll join me around 12:30, 1:30 in the East. And we'll touch on some stuff, especially going on in wrestling, because we're big wrestling fans. And we're going to shut a couple people on this Fuel staff up. So, hey, you're tuning in to the A-Train Show.
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
Back on this edition of the A-Train Show, the A-Train Arlington Lane. I'm going to go everywhere. If you want to chime in on Fan Friday, you got the opportunity to do so. You can do it on X. You can do it on Facebook. You can also do it on YouTube. And thank you for those that are tuning in at fuelsportsnetwork.com. We definitely appreciate you over there. We're trying to do as many great things as we can. Make sure that you go and check us out on, if you have it, on Roku and on your Amazon Fire Stick as well. All right. Today is May 31st, and I'm going to bring this clip back into play for a reason. What you say, Cody?
What do you guys want to talk about?
In this case, I want to talk about, let's start here first.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that first. The reason why I say that is, for those that don't know, I think I had spoken about it a little while ago, is that Pat Sajak is retiring. I can't spell for the life of me. I can't spell today. That's the purpose of this network, man, because you never know what kind of craziness is going to come out. But Pat Sajak is retiring. Actually, it's not. Pat Sajak's last show is next Friday. It's next Friday, June 7th. So I know they're planning a big week for him. He's already taped it. 41 years as the host of the nighttime show, Nighttime Wheel. And he's hosted in the franchise in total for 43 years since 1981. So yeah, that is a long tenure. And Ryan Seacrest will take over. He's already started filming. For those that know him from American Idol, if you know him from Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, man, that's a long time hosting a show by yourself. Well, of course, Vanna White been part of it for the last 42 for her, and she's going to continue on with the show. It's going to look kind of weird a little bit, man. You know, not having Pat and Vanna, because that's something that we've been used to for so long. You know, the same thing like when Drew Carey took over The Price is Right. A lot of people's like, he's not Bob. I just don't want to see that with Ryan Seacrest. He said Pat has become a bit grumpy, and he's understandable with some of the idiots on there. Yeah. There was speculation. Notice I said speculation around the wheel set that Pat was production staff was unhappy with Pat Sajak. I don't know what that means. And quite honestly, for Pat, this is a good time for him to step away. He didn't do the same thing like what Alex was doing. I know Alex wanted to do the same thing, as in retire and then go on and, live his life. But, he kept going with the job. And of course, he succumbed to the cancer back 4 years ago for Alex, man. Yeah. And as right now, that Jeopardy is continuing going strong with Ken Jennings. I didn't have a problem with them having two hosts at the time, especially the way that they had broken it up. But Ken Jennings has solidified himself as a fantastic host for that show. I don't see him doing, if they have him do another one, I don't think it will have the same effect like it is with Jeopardy, but it may lead to other gigs if he decides to step away from Jeopardy. But for the time being, Ken Jennings being the host of that is actually pretty. It's been pretty good. But looking at Pat Sajak retiring, it's like all of our hosts from our childhood are leaving. You ever notice that? Like when back in the day, it was, if you look at the strongest shows, Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Family Feud. Ain't that something? Sajak retiring, but Victor 80 years old, still kicking, baby. He's still kicking in daytime, man. He's still kicking. Mark Summers. You know what? Mark Summers with Double Dare, man. We grew up with these people. We grew up with them, and like now all of them are gone. And it's just wild to me. These were people that, we would be at home with our grandparents. And for me, it was grandmothers, because by the time I got older, both of my grandfathers had gone. But my grandfather, one thing about my grandfather, he knew that I loved game shows. And it used to be a long time ago, USA used to have a long cable block. He had like 8 hours of nonstop game shows from the morning to the afternoon. Cartoons, it was game shows for me. And I ain't ashamed to tell that. Yeah, I've heard about that, Jeremy. About the good doctor chiming in podcast, and he gets pretty cool guests. He's had a one man show lately on Broadway, talking about his experiences, doing Double Dare. Man, listen, you can't sit here and tell me that you wanted to be a contestant on that show. You want to run that? Hey, like you would go. And here in St. Louis, we got Schnucks, Deerbergs. We used to have Shop and Save a Lot. You wanted to take your cart, just grab as much stuff as you wanted to do, and that used to be that sound like fun. It looked fun, and those were the types of shows that we used to have, man. See, hey, you going way back. You're going way back, St. Louis. You're going way back with National and Kroger, man. Kroger's are actually still around. It's just they're not in the St. Louis area like they used to be. Or in a way, they're now Ruler Foods if you are in the St. Louis area. But yeah, that was the type of shows, and we used to have that type of fun. When you sat down with the grandparents and enjoyed it. And my grandfather, who's been gone for the last 34 years, that's in St. Louis. I know there's still some Kroger's out there. Yeah, Price is Right, Hollywood Squares and stuff. Yeah, those are always been fun. But those types of game show, of course, this is literally the best show. Pressure Luck is still the best show on TV now. Like even the new one that they did. So that, they I will say game shows are in a good place today. I know a lot of people have been upset with who's been hosting or bringing back a old show that didn't need to be on the air, because let me tell you something. Joel McHale should never be a game show host ever again in life. Never. Leave that to those that kind of understand how to do certain things. He did Card Sharks, and it was I hated it. But back to Jeremy's comment, what was the one with the whammy? Press Your Luck. Hey, listen. Joel McHale. He's a comedian. Yeah. The reality show stuff, it didn't move me. I understand it's competition. You got shows like The Amazing Race that's still popular. Survivor that's been around forever. But if there was a show that you really should tune into now, like go to Hulu. I want you to go to Hulu and watch the newer Pressure Luck with Elizabeth Banks. I know a lot of people like this show. It's amazing. It brings in the feels. It's all about a gamble, and it brings you to the edge of your seat. And those are the types of shows that you should, that people like. When it brings you to the edge, it's like, oh my God, is he going to win? Is he going to lose a bundle? Like, you can't sit here and tell me right now. And enjoy what you would see on those shows. Remember those?
Did he get your finger, Matt? No, you're okay. You got 10 fingers. You may want to count them.
See what I'm saying? Remember that? Smarter than a fifth grader. Smarter than a fifth grader is fun, Game shows are in a good place now, and I get it. Deal or No Deal was always a good show. Again, it brought the feels, but at the same time, I got it got burnout like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It got burnout. Next week, I'm hoping I'm going to bring on an announcer of a game show. They used to announce the revival of Match Game with Alec Baldwin, my good friend Steve French. I'm gonna see if I can bring him on, touch a little bit about that, because look, as much as we want to sit here and act like we don't watch them, we still watch them because they're enjoyable. They're 30 minutes or an hour of fun that takes away from what we got going on in our actual lives. And so I am not ashamed of being one of those fans. Like, I'm starting to realize how many people actually can agree and attest that they will sit down and watch a 30-minute or a 60-minute game show, an hour of fun, because that's what it is, especially with Family Feud these days with Steve Harvey. I know a lot of people feel divided about that, but those were shows, you know. Laughs was always a big part of show a human side, because game shows were about us, the fan or the contestant. It was never about the host. Sometimes the contestants are the stars of the show, and that's how game shows are supposed to be made. It's not supposed to be made for the host. I mean, granted, you want an acceptable, capable host of a show, but you want to see how the contestants do. But all right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. I'm going to have my man Kevin Womble join me. We're going to talk some wrestling, and I'm I hate to even talk about it, but I might throw in some UFL. I really don't, but we'll see. This is a Fan Friday. If you got something that you want to discuss, you want to talk about, we'll touch on it coming up after the break. You're tuning in to the A Train Show right here on Fuel Sports Network.
Streetwear brand dedicated to building everyday champions on and off the field. We're a cause. Our purpose is to transform lives and elevate humanity through the power and unity of sports, positive stories, and serving others. We're dedicated to the game, the grind, and the globe. But most importantly, we're dedicated to you. That's what it means to be. Always true.
Back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. I guess on this program coming in today is from the Jersey the King Show, and you can catch him tomorrow on the Gridiron coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock noon, 10 in the West. I think I got that right. I hope you don't hurt me on it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's JTK himself, Mr. Kevin Womble. What's up, sir?
What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon. Yes. Yes.
You decided to join the Baldhead Club. Wait a minute. Did I get another guest coming in too?
I've been bald.
Wait a minute.
People don't know it. I've been bald.
I
actually have alopecia totalis. And
okay.
You know, I lost all my hair. So I'm part of the Shibaldi Club.
The Shibaldi Club. Hey, so wait, check this out. I want to ask you this. I want to ask you. The comment came in from our guy Chris Mason, who's been watching like pretty much every show that we put out. He said the A Train should be a game show host. Do you believe that sentiment?
Yes.
Oh my God,
you would be good at it. No, honestly, you'd actually really be good at it. Myself included. I really think so. Just saying.
Hey.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Chris is my number one fan. I don't know whether I should be afraid of that or I should be very ecstatic that I have a number one fan. I don't know.
Never
you might
be afraid of a fan.
You might be seeing double. You might be seeing double, man. Listen, let me bring on the other guest.
I had my glasses on. Probably.
Let's see, because we're going to bring in another gentleman from the Derek King Show. He's here. Derek is here. Derek, did you want to jump on or say anything? No?
You know, I mean, frankly, it's what you guys were just discussing a moment ago. This is just the bald-headed club of all the guys that don't have any hair, coming from someone who started losing their hair at about 15 years old. I just came to accept it. I was doing it before it was ever cool, before, you know, Vin Diesel and all the other people that were doing it. I was doing it way back in the day. But, you know, when guys sit there, and this always has puzzled me, right? And I don't know how you gentlemen feel about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and put my 2 cents out there on this when it comes to hair on top of your head. Obviously, we can tell that I've got it everywhere else, but, you know, on top of your head, I just don't understand. Yes, 2 cents right there. You know, I just don't understand the concern that a lot of gentlemen have with the hair issue. I just don't get what the big deal is, because I almost feel that some men feel, this is probably going to get a little deep, but feel like, hey, I'm not manly enough if I don't have enough hair on my head. I don't agree with that assessment at all, because once the hair started coming off of the top of my head, it started going south. So, you know, we just got to remember it just got washed down the body. You know, Tom Selleck standing there in the shower going, look at that, the water runs up. You know, I just don't get what the big deal is. So, you know, frankly, to be honest with you, bald is beautiful. It is the new thing. It is the hip thing.
It always has been,
yes.
Man. Hey, Tella Savalas always said, "Who loves you, baby?" You know what I mean? So you can't.
And
you
the
can't
beard
go
is
wrong.
Glorious.
Hey, man, I'm jealous
glorious.
of that beard, though.
I am jelly.
It is a wild, mangy beast that is absolutely horrid to control every single day. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Hawaii one time on vacation, and I'm on the island of Maui, and we were at this kind of like scenic kind of place where you walk on these trails and things like that. And it's me and my wife and another couple that we were there with that were friends of my wife. And we were walking across this parking lot, and all of a sudden this woman who's probably well into her 70s, she just comes running up to me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody with such a beard. And I've never been around it. I've always been around professionals that have always been clean shaven. Can I touch it?" And I immediately was just like, and I turned like this. And I look at my wife over there to my right, and I'm like,
hey, listen.
And she's just like, go ahead. She's like,
listen,
it's fine.
That is like black folks with their hair. It kind of feels a certain way.
Now, we got to touch on this, right? We got to touch on this. Okay, I'm taking it off. It's off. All right. So here's the deal. I remember in the early 2000s when I would go to a concert or a club or whatever it was that I was doing at the time, whenever I was in my younger years, it would always occur every single time. You boys can attest to this. If you ever went out, that you would have people come up and touch your head.
Yes.
And you're
this
like,
happened to me recently.
What in the absolute hell is going on here? Just these strange people coming up out of nowhere and just start like,
can I touch your head?
Those people don't even ask.
So shiny.
They just come right up and they just
so
start
shiny.
rubbing it. It's so weird. I've never seen anything like that. Well, how about this? How about you go shave your head and then touch it yourself and find out? Because,
find out.
It's
a little uncomfortable.
I don't see the fascination with
I don't need it for luck. Don't touch my hand. Just don't do it. It's just that simple. All right, gang. Let's get into what we're here for. It's some wrestling. I know that's what I'm here for today.
Ooh, yeah. It's gonna get really interesting. Yeah.
So me and Jersey were talking about it before the show was about AEW Collision, of course. Will Ospreay winning the AEW, the international title. I think that's good for him. I think that's good for the company. Putting them. You want to look at like it's a Sabrina. You can love it anytime you want. Anytime you want. You know what? It was Double or Nothing wasn't the best to me. Oh my God, it was just.
It was spotty.
But there was some promise. Like Will Ospreay winning the AEW International title is good. Of course, Swerve keeping his title. MJF returning, which to me, he said a bunch of nothing on the show. A bunch of nothing. Just spewing stuff, and it just was nothing. Referring to Vince McMahon and whatnot. I think Adam Copeland, he retained his title, the TNT title. Mercedes Moné.
And a hell of a match, though.
See, but yeah,
it
that's
was a hell of a match.
And it cost him. Now he's going to be out. And now we have to sit back and say, sir, it's time for you to stop. Stop.
Him and Jericho both.
Let's get him out of here.
Don't even get me started on Chris Jericho being in his 50s, doing what he's doing. I just don't understand the fascination. Jericho, brother, just go do your band stuff. Just give it up, okay? It's old. It's done. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Let's move on to somebody else. And I do want to touch on Mercedes Moné.
Okay.
Mercedes Moné in this division, she is the pinnacle. She is the greatest one in this entire division. There's nobody else that comes close to her star power. There's nobody else that
in AEW. In AEW,
she asked
Arlington, come on now, Arlington. Who else in AEW can carry the women's division?
One.
Carry.
And I will cut them off at the knees. You name me
she
one.
Walked in there. Derek, tell me if I'm lying. She walked in there, said she was a part of the company. Their female rating views went through the damn roof.
If you're lying, I'm dying.
Just saying. No one else can carry the women's division in that company like her.
Mercedes Moné
needs to get better.
Mercedes Moné cashes checks. She puts asses in seats. People want to see her. She's the boss. She's that good.
Jeremy Housewright, Mr. Housewright, answer me this question. Who else in the women's division in AEW can carry the company? Because Willow wasn't doing it. Why do you think she dropped the title? Willow was not carrying that women's division. She wasn't pushing that women's division into another next of like, okay, this is look, Mercedes Moné did it as Sasha Banks in WWE, headlining a WrestleMania, one of the first Black women to headline WrestleMania, not Royal Rumble, not SummerSlam, not Survivor Series, WrestleMania, the Super Bowl of wrestling events. Let's keep it real. No one else has that star power that she has. Now, if we go over to the WWE side, then we got some comp.
Then it's a different story when you go over to that side. But when you're talking AEW strictly, I don't care.
She never headlined WWE with Bianca Belair.
Cash me a check.
WrestleMania.
Cash me a check.
She never headlined WrestleMania.
What year was it? What year was that when that happened?
Where's Google?
You know, it's not. Here's the thing. It ain't even that about them being marks. It's about the fact that despite the fact that what AEW has right now currently, Mercedes Moné is going to be the top star on the women's side. On the women's side, you have to understand. This is Tony Khan we talking about. Tony Khan don't know diddly squat about.
Tony Khan is a mark.
That's
he's
where we
a
at.
mark. He's a mark that has money, and unfortunately, he's been allowed to have the reins of an organization that needs a business mind to run this. And he has managed to take this company that was being organized and ran by wrestlers who knew and understood the business and has literally driven it into the ground at this point. And the only way that they're going to come back is by allowing the people who know and understand the business to run the business. It's that simple.
So
when
basically,
you mark out, you're done.
You're agreeing with you. But see, that's the thing, man. And on the east side, we're getting people like Jordan Grace coming over, NXT
man.
Ethan Page coming over, and you don't think Shawn Michaels?
The sex boy.
Yeah, you saw at the beginning of the show with Sexy Red. Listen, that is fantastic. But here's my thing with it is they've been consistent with making sure that NXT is going to still be one of the top three, you know. And then, like I said, they're moving to CW in the fall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're going to get a core audience of 18 to 29, and those that are wrestling fans, you're going to get that audience too.
I want to point
it's all about the marketing. It's all about the marketing.
Jeremy saying Sexy Red sucks, but good marketing. Okay, let's touch on that for a second. The marketing aspect. Is that what wrestling is? It's all marketing. There you go. Right there. 37. There you go.
Sasha Banks.
So with the marketing aspect of what the WWE produces, they're genius in how they package everything. Look at CM Punk. I'll give you CM Punk, for example. The voice of the voiceless, right? The best in the world. The best on this microphone. The best in this ring. The best in the back. The best in the world. And he goes to the UFC and gets his ass kicked by just novice, guys that have just barely been in the MMA industry, and proves a point. Marketing is everything, because unfortunately we were spoiled by the anomaly, Brock Lesnar, by him coming out already being a multi-division athlete, NCAA athlete,
Right.
Olympian level, to then go into the WWE, still get all of that training, and then to go into the fight game on top of playing football here and there.
You can't take a
So
punch
we were
in the
spoiled.
face.
Yeah. And being able to take a punch in the face. I mean, I implore anyone
Brock
to go
Lesnar
back
couldn't
and
take a
watch
punch in the
Shane
face.
Carwin versus Brock Lesnar for the UFC heavyweight championship. And I guarantee you're going to cringe every single time you see a punch land, because That was brutal to see those two guys who were pumped full of stuff. They had more juice than Tropicana. I'm telling you, they were pumped and going and dropping bombs on each other. That was crazy.
But when I found out, this is how I found out Brock Lesnar could not take a punch to the face. Mr. Brown Pride himself. When Cain Velasquez whooped his ass and he ran back to the WWE, he did. As soon as he lost the belt, he was out of there. I can't do it. I'm going back to this. I can't. He hit me way too damn hard. When you seen that first punch land from Cain Velasquez on Brock Lesnar, Brock was like, what did I just get myself into?
Hey, but that was the one thing
in the
I
match.
think that was the one thing I did not like for when I understood the reason that Velasquez came, because there's been misses that WWE has had in the past. One was Cain Velasquez, another was Gable Stevenson. Like, they didn't even know what to do with this dude. So, it like bringing in UFC guy. You want to bring Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey became problem. You know what I mean? Shayna Baszler, she's doing her job. You know what I mean? And
I want to touch on that Ronda thing just for a split second.
Okay.
I think that's another marketing gimmick. It was a way for her to sell books. It was a way to get those numbers up. And it was a way to make it more sexualized, more fantastical. Oh, hey, we got this deal with Vince. We got all this other stuff going on. Why not capitalize on that? You don't think that was a marketing plan? It was. Go ahead, continue.
and it was a way to mix in more
with the
MMA style. No, MMA fighting in the wrestling matches.
Look at
because
the connection.
Look how many wrestling
wrestling
fighters use the ankle lock. They use arm triangles now. They're doing all these different MMA submission moves in the WWE. Matt Riddle, he's the MMA guy because he was in MMA, and they're incorporating it. And then all of a sudden, there's a big merge, TKO, and then they're like, now you got WWE and UFC. It's technically one big ass company, just with two different brands under one big umbrella.
I'll go back.
Mix it in.
No. I got an idea. I got an idea on Braun. Okay. So did you guys see the video from a fan of him coming through the crowd for the show the other day? And he was down on all fours, just like Rick. And he's crawling along like a dog. And he just gets all the way up there. And then all of a sudden he just shoots like out of a cannon over the rail into the ring, does his little thing, and he's out. You need to be using Braun Breaker in that fashion. He needs to be this unstoppable force that just comes out of nowhere, bang, that fast, brutalizes everybody in sight, and then disappears. You don't know where he's coming from. You don't know what's going to happen next. Everybody's looking over their shoulder, paranoid about where Braun Breaker is going to show up.
Like a rabid dog.
Like a rabid.
You know what would be a good storyline for Braun Breaker?
What's that?
Braun Strowman. Breaker, Strowman. Two immovable how do you call it? Immovable objects.
Unstoppable forces.
One
unstoppable forces going up against each other.
You got to keep them on separate shows. If they're gonna interlock, they're gonna have to lock up at WrestleMania.
It needs to be a special event. And here's my thing. With Braun, what you need to do is you need to build him up as a absolutely terrifying monster. Not Brock Lesnar 2.0, but he needs to be his own, like Arlington said, a rabid dog. You don't know what he's capable of.
Like, when you had Brock Lesnar in the ring, he was in the ring. He wasn't making sneak attacks. Something, and it really messes with me about like Karrion Kross and what they're doing with him. Like, they don't really know what to do with him. You add a Braun Breaker, like a rabid dog with AOP, it's ridiculous. It's almost insanity, because that's where that is. It's insane. Remember, they tried to build Brock 2.0. I can't think of the guy's name. He was on NXT for a while, then he got in trouble with the law, and then they just kicked him out. You know what I mean? I can't think.
Oh,
of his
you're
name.
talking about
Save
the
me.
huge big dude. You're talking about that big
Everybody
dude.
said that
I
he
forgot
looked
his
like
name.
Brock Lesnar. He looked like Brock Lesnar.
He did. He looked like a
Can't
baby
think of
Brock, and the way he was running through NXT, man. They did drop the ball across, but it reminds me of. But it also reminds me of Drew McIntyre when he first came into the business. And this is why I referred to it on Four Corners about Nia Jax, because Nia Jax was a damn problem when she first came in the WWE.
Speaking of which,
She
yes.
was a problem, and she caused a lot more problems and a lot more bad than she did good. So what happened? Triple H said, okay, we're going to treat you like Drew McIntyre. Your ass is going to go sit down and think about if you really want to make this your career. No, honestly, let's keep it real. She didn't go to AEW. She didn't even go to NXT. She sat her ass at home to really think about the future of her career, just like Drew McIntyre did. But the difference is when Drew McIntyre came back, he went through NXT again for a short stint and then got his chance back in the WWE and got his chance to actually go for a title run. And I think that's what they're doing with Nia Jax. She's proven that she wants to be in this company. She's proven that she wants to be, a face of this company in the women's division. So why not let her do it? Let her be that immovable object and that immovable force in the women's division, to where Jade and Bianca got to use that powerhouse to beat somebody like that.
And
Rhea Ripley comes back and fighting Nia Jax.
I really hated that. And you speak of Rhea Ripley, and we only got a couple of minutes. Real quick, that whole thing with Liv and Dom, that is that's long-term storytelling. It goes back to when they were tag team partners, right? When they won the tag belts, right? So, and then Dom got himself involved. We're trying to align with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch didn't want nothing to do with it. And so what it wind up doing is like a 180 of sorts. It wind up where Liv was able to feed off of that, and she was able to retain her title, which is great. That's fantastic. Even the kiss that Dominic did not want, because if you watched it, Dominic was like that the whole time. So he didn't want it. So it just evolved off that story. And I'm like, that's how things can progress. And Becky don't need the title back anymore, honestly. She don't need it. That is a major thing here.
Spend time with her kid.
She can take off
the
rumors around.
Rumors aren't they talking about vacationing and talking taking about some time off to go raising their child?
Renewing her contract is also the point added too.
But
I think
that's the storyline that they're going with right now. Same with her and Seth. Yeah.
And so they taking some time off so they can be with their kid. So that's fine. You have people that can elevate even right now. I know a lot of people would not, hey, what's going on, Excalibur? Couldn't really evolve it. But man, we had so much that we were able to discuss in just a short amount of time that we got to end the show. I hate that. But hey, thanks to Jersey. Make sure you check out the Gridiron every Saturday.
This Saturday.
All right. And then this Saturday,
Double G is coming back, y'all.
Thursdays for Jersey the King show, and then this gentleman right there, Derek King. You make sure you tune into the Derek King show every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. And hey, this is me, the A Train, Arlington Lane, about to get up out of here, man. So catch out for another edition of the show. See y'all next time.
Peace out.